Okay, this is Rank Carcass here again, or RC, whatever you want. Anyway, I'm about to do a video on the British Commonwealth. And this is actually not as complicated as some of my newer players seem to think. It's really pretty basic. These three combined are one major power. All the diplomacy is based under Great Britain's decision. So there you go. So if you're Anzac, you can't declare war on anybody unless your daddy Great Britain says yep. Same with the Far East Command. And if you decide to house rule in Canada as a separate country, unless you make separate rules for that, it would be the same thing. Alright, so basically the home country for let's just do Great Britain and Far East Command together, because that's the actual British Empire, and Anzac is a separate country that actually decided to join as a member of the British Commonwealth into the war on its own. Same as Canada, they voted themselves in. So let's just do Great Britain Far East Command first, because that's the most simplest way to do this. So home country, Great Britain is the island, the British Isles, and it is here. Let's fly up here. All right, it is Scotland, Liverpool, London. That's it. That's the home country. So technically, as per the rules, the only place that you may build a major factory is your home country, which is there. You may not, any minor factory anywhere on the map has to be in supply via naval base to naval base or rail in order to build anything to the major factories in the home country. Done. There you go. So, no major factory in the home country, you cannot build anything. There's an exception to the rule on major factories, and that is the Canadian factory. I'm just going to read off the British sheet here, and I'm not going to force you to have to look at it. So, special abilities for Great Britain, Canadian factory. Great Britain may receive Lend-Lease money and equipment from the U.S. at any Canadian major factory site. That would be expressed by this one here in Ottawa. And Britain may also build major factories in Canada. So, very specific on that. That is not technically home country of Britain, though. So, alright, so now let's go. We're zoomed right in on the island again. I'm going to back up a little bit here. There you go. Let me get that C zone number for 24. Island nation. Britain's ability to get money from outside the home nation can be blocked if at least 3 surface warships, which is any ship that's not a sub or a transport, are in each sea zone that contains a naval base or a shipyard. And looking at my map there, I have a feeling I forgot to put a shipyard or a naval base down there for Liverpool. Yes, I did. So let me grab one, because this is mildly confusing. It's hard to show something when you don't have them all on there. So there is, in Liverpool, a shipyard on that side, along with an airbase and a minor factory. Alright, so there we go. That makes things a little easier. So in order to blockade Britain, it's a little bit same idea as what you do to Japan, but instead of 2 sea zones, you got a lot more. Because this Navy base here services both Sea Zone 3 and Sea Zone 11, so you need to have 3 there, 3 here. This Navy base is on Sea Zone 25, so you need to have 3 ships there. This shipyard here is in Sea Zone 24. You also need another 3 ships here. And then Liverpool's got this shipyard in Sea Zone 10, so you need to have another 3 ships there. So you need 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 surface warships minimum to blockade the island. That's if you only do naval. Now, if you brought some transports along, all you got to do is blockade the ones that they own. So, should you come in and take Scotland, for example, you've eliminated the need to blockade C-Zone 3 and C-Zone 11. You would only now have to blockade 10, 24, and 25, right? If that happens to be German-owned. And this has happened to me, and it sucks, but so be it. So, there you go. Right? Now, if you own that, and that's German, you would only need 3 surface warships there, 3 there, and 3 there. But if you don't have this, I'm starting to run out of ships. You'd need to have 3 ships here, and 3 ships here. That's a lot of ships, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now on the British turn, if they bring out their aircraft and they blow up one of your ships at any of these locations, the blockade's broken, right? So you need to be conscious of that. So just 3 isn't really enough. So instead of having to do this, what you can do is take this over as the Germans. That annihilates this port as needing to be covered. And now we can do that. That makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? So just be aware, if Germany's got a big navy, they can really mess you up. So keep an eye on the German Navy. All right. So that's just one example there. And it's even worse if they come down here too. Because now they don't need to blockade this one, so they can use all those ships down there. They only need to blockade 2 locations because you're cut off. So, there you go. Quick example. And yes, it's happened to me, and that sucks. Because the only money you're making, let's get this stuff off here. Put that guy back in Berlin. So the only money you're then making is the 6 from London, the 3 from Liverpool, and the 1 from Scotland if they do the full naval blockade. So all these convoy lines outside, whatever, don't matter. All the territories you own everywhere else, you could have an income of 70, but if you're blockaded, you're only making 10, right? And if they take away Scotland, now you're only making 9, right? So you'd almost, in fact, you will rather lose your capital over losing that. It's horrible. Same thing can happen to Japan, so keep an eye on it. All right, so that's that blockade part. What else do we have here? So I got the Island Nation covered, Canadian factory, Dutch territories. Well, we're kind of right there, so let's just show this. So the Dutch have the Netherlands right here, shown by this roundel, and this is the vivid one, so it's the capital. And then they have the muted roundels down here, the Dutch Guiana. That's worth money. And then way over here, you've got the Dutch East Indies. Oh, sorry about that. You got the Dutch East Indies. So these also are income. So if the Axis happen to have attacked the Dutch and the Netherlands are fighting the Dutch and so are you, they will align to Britain. But instead of just throwing your own roundel on there, this money will automatically go into a separate pot. And I do that with this here. I just throw the money on a pot in here. And this will be a little easier to explain here. Let's give them some insane amount of money. Let's say they got 16 bucks for the Dutch, right? Well, you can spend it wherever you want. You can spend all $16 right here. Or you could say spend 5 there, and 6 here. Or you could spend all of it right here. Doesn't matter. You can split this up wherever you want. Let's get that out of the way. All right, so there you go. Dutch money. What else do we got? Colonial Infantry. All right, this one's pretty basic. Colonial Infantry. British may build Colonial Infantry in any of its colonies, which are starting British territories that are not part of the home country. These units are regular infantry and can move and attack. No factory required to build these units. And you're only allowed to build one per turn in a land zone that has a point value. And the Colonial Infantry are actually a regular infantry for all states and purposes, the same as any other regular dude like this. That's it. All the stats are the same. But the Colonials cost an extra $1 to build. And there you go. So, original British territory. And the FEC also has the ability to build one colonial per turn in its original FEC territories, denoted by a roundel. Sorry. Canada's kind of an iffy one. I don't know if you could build a colonial infantry up there, but you probably can. For sure, if it's got the same British roundel. Here, let's just look at this one right here. We got two right in front of us here. Nigeria, British roundel, British color, everything's good. It's a colony. It does not have a point value, so you cannot build a colonial here. Gold Coast, it is a British territory. It's got the British roundel. It's British original, right? It's got the $1 there in the red square. That means it's worth $1 of income. So that is plenty good for me. You are allowed to build one colonial there. But if you build one colonial here this turn, you can't build it anywhere else. So keep an eye on where you're building it. It doesn't require a factory. So, as an example here, we've got the Union of South Africa. It's worth 2. It's an original British territory. It has a factory, but you can build a colonial here and use the factory's capacity to build something else. Just like militia. Factory not required. Doesn't matter if the factory's there. You're not using that factory. You're just building a colonial here the same as you would have over there. Okay. FEC, same thing. Punjab, no money, no colonial. Bombay, it's worth $1. You can build a colonial. So you can build one on one of these original FEC with the Union Jack, and you can build one on the original Great Britain with the British roundel. There you go. So that's the colonials. Let's see. What else do I need to cover here? Okay. So Britain, I've got them in the tan. Same tan as Global 40. Same units actually. Right? And then here, FEC, you could have used the tan, but FEC has no home country. FEC is not a separate country. FEC is just a regional military division of Great Britain. So it's got a capital here in Calcutta, but only for purposes of losing its income and receiving Lend-Lease. That way you know where the home country is. The Lend-Lease is always funneled towards the capital in the home country, right? So if you're going to Lend-Lease to FEC, it doesn't have a home country, but it does have a capital, so it's always being funneled towards Calcutta, which doesn't have a port, so it's got to land either over. Actually, it can't land over there. It's got to either land over there, I guess, or it lands over here and it walks over. All right, so that's that for the FEC. Really, that's just a separate regional power, but it is part of the British Commonwealth and the British Union. It's got $14 of income. These guys got 7, and that's over there has got 24. So you don't want all $45 being spent in Calcutta, because that would totally break the game, right? Which is the reason why this is split up, right? These guys get 14 to spend. These guys got their 7, and the British on that side, including Africa, Canada, and the island, and Gibraltar, and all that other stuff. That they've just got $24 to spend all over there. So that's the reason for this. Okay, British surrender. Britain will surrender when it has lost its capital and all its alternate capital sites. So long as one of them is in existence, Britain will not surrender. Britain's capital is London. And yes, there is a semicircle here denoting it as a city. All right. So if Britain loses its capital, it may move its capital to Ottawa. If it can't move to Ottawa or decides not to, it may also move its capital to the Union of South Africa. If that's not an option they want to use, they can move the capital to Calcutta. And if they still don't want to do that one, they always have the option of Sydney. So you, in order to make Britain surrender, have to take Sydney for 1, Calcutta for 2, South Africa for 3, Ottawa for 4, and London for 5. So you need to take 5 places out to make Britain surrender. And the FEC will not surrender unless Britain surrenders. So you can take Calcutta, but they don't surrender. They just stay in existence. There you go. That's that. For them, Anzac is a bit of an anomaly because Anzac is kind of a separate country, but for the game purposes, it plays as part of the Commonwealth major power. So Anzac's capital is Sydney. Anzac's home territory is all of the island or continent of Australia and New Zealand. If Sydney is lost, it may move its capital to New Zealand. If Sydney is regained and it loses New Zealand, it can move back and forth. So either one of these locations will work as a capital. But if it loses both of these, it surrenders. Australia is out of the game. Done. All right. But for purposes of the game, this Australian, I know this is going to seem weird, but this Australian transport can be loaded up with an FEC dude and a British dude. And on its own turn, which is the same turn for all of them, it can move up here and then drop them off over there. Oh, you can't see that. They all move together. Same turn, same move, everything. So they all will move on the same turn. They attack together. They move together. They are all one power. They're the same as Japan, but broken up into pieces for to not overbalance the game on one side or the other. All right, that's that. Tech. Doesn't matter who rolls the tech or who pays for the tech. You can split that up amongst yourselves here, and use your change for whatever you're building to put it all in there for tech. And whoever rolls for the tech, doesn't matter. If one of you gets tech, you all get the same tech. So technically all the tech is based out of Great Britain. Great Britain, as I said, is the big daddy of this alliance. So Britain's got their income on here, FEC, and Australia. But when it comes to the tech, I'm only using these things. So if Britain wants the tech, Britain gets the tech. If Britain has the tech, that tech applies to everybody. So if, for example, Britain has improved factories all the way over there, well, guess what? The entire British Commonwealth has the ability to have improved factories, right? All their factories build more units. It's the way she works. Okay, so there. Tech is shared, turn is shared, everything's shared. Lend-Lease is a bit different. They cannot receive Lend-Lease altogether. If you Lend-Lease to the British Commonwealth, you don't Lend-Lease to the US on the same turn. Can't Lend-Lease a tank to these guys, destroyer to these guys and a fighter to these guys, they got to pick. Are they Lend-Leasing to Anzac? Are they Lend-Leasing to the Far East? Or are they Lend-Leasing to Britain? Right? Same thing. It doesn't matter who it originates from, but you can't Lend-Lease something from Anzac, Great Britain, and the Far East Command to France either. It's one. You're Lend-Leasing one item to France or the US or whoever. Not, 3 items. You can't send 3 items and you can't receive 3 items from the same place or to the same place. I think that about covers it. I got surrender, I got the factories. So yeah, this seems complicated, but really is really basic. It's one major power broken up into little economies so that this side doesn't overpower and spend nothing over here, or this side doesn't overpower, and then you definitely don't need Australia blowing 45 bucks a turn. Well, over there we got nothing going on. All right, so I think that about covers Britain. Hopefully we can get into, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to just shut her down here. Yeah, we'll call that a day, and we'll see if we can't get a British strategy video today or something. All right, have a good day and enjoy yourselves. Bye.